Hi everyone, this is Maya Zahira with Psychic Protection Sanctuary, joining you from sunny, hot, 100-degree southern Arizona. I hope you all are doing great and staying cool wherever you are. So this is our monthly Facebook Live that we do in our free Facebook group. And then after we complete the Facebook Live, I upload it to YouTube. So, since it's a Facebook Live and we're waiting for some people to join, I'd like to go ahead and give you some important announcements and also a little tidbit of what we're going to be doing in today's Facebook Live. So, our topic for today is living with an empath. So, if you are an empath, or you might currently be living with an empath, or at some point in the future you might end up living with an empath, or maybe in the past you did and you're confused about how it went. So that's what this class is about today. I'm calling it a class, but it's really more of an interactive discussion. So I always want to be really clear what it is that we are doing. I know there's a lot of people doing different things on their YouTube channels. So a shout out to all of you who are watching on YouTube. I want to just be really clear that this is a Facebook Live and the intent here is interaction. So we're going to be commenting a lot. I am encouraging even more comments than usual in today's Facebook Live. So we will get into that in just a little bit. General announcements. All right, so I mentioned the free Facebook group, but I didn't say what it was called. For those of you who are watching somewhere else and you want to figure out how to join, it is called Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group, and it's the group, not the page. So if you want the free group that's interactive, where you can ask questions and you can get involved to whatever degree that you want to, that's the group, Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. And it is a free support group out there for people who are wanting to learn more about how to manage your energy, or you're dealing with full-on psychic attack. Okay? So that's the first tidbit. The other tidbit is those of you who are not on the YouTube channel and you want to know what that is, that's also called Psychic Protection Sanctuary. It's on YouTube. Just type it in, Psychic Protection Sanctuary. And there are like literally hundreds of hours of free content on that channel, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you binge watch all weekend, because I just love that there's all that free content out there. The third thing is, if you want to learn more about what I do and perhaps even work with me more deeply beyond the free stuff that I put out there, then you will probably want to go to my website, and that's www.psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. The other announcement is that these Facebook Lives were on Mondays. They were on Mondays forever and ever and ever. And now I've switched them to Saturdays. So this is our first, I can't remember, is this our first or second time doing the Saturday? But at any rate, it's a new thing. So I don't know how many live people we will have, but I think in time it will grow. And also, when I upload this to YouTube, I'm going to upload it as a premiere later on Saturday. I haven't decided the exact time. Late afternoon, probably 4 p.m. Pacific is probably what I'll do. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. And then that way, those of you who've missed the first round that was live, you can come on. And a premiere is when it's already uploaded, but everybody gets to comment live as the video is playing. So it's kind of like watching a movie in a movie theater that's already been pre-recorded and everybody's there together. So you can go on there again. So it's like a second chance to be interactive. Taryn says, I'm grateful for you switching them to Saturdays. I've been wanting to join in. Oh, I'm so glad. I know it works for some people, not for others. This feels good to me because actually my Mondays were a little too crammed. So I'm really grateful for the change. Okay. One more tiny announcement before we get into our lesson. And that is, if you do feel drawn to work with me more deeply, we go way deeper in my paid program. We cover a lot more than we do in the free content. We go deeper and broader, and there's so much support. You guys, I have a cat, so sometimes when I get on live video, my nose starts itching or I have to deal with stuff. We always got to keep it real and authentic, right? So if you want to go deeper, that would be Spiritual Empowerment Academy. And you go to psychicprotectionsanctuary.com, my website. And then under the events tab, you'll find Spiritual Empowerment Academy. And that academy is like fucking amazing. I love that group so much. It is my number one focus. That's what I focus on full time. Like, it's not one of those programs where you join it and you think that you're going to be able to work with whoever it is that you thought you were going to work with, and then that person is never there. It's like their assistant or their team. No, I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate it when I've joined programs and that happens. It feels like bait and switch, and that is not what this is. Some of you are in my program and you know I'm there all the time. I'm personally involved with the program. So if you want to work with me, that's what you would do. Okay, so I was a trained school teacher 30 plus years ago. And so I love homework and taking notes and everything. And I would love, if you feel called to, I would love for you to grab a pen and paper, because you might get some ideas from today's class. Now, this is not as content rich as some of my classes. This is more sharing, but you still might get some thoughts about, if you're an empath, you might get some thoughts, like some self-discovery kinds of thoughts that you might jot down in your journal or your notebook. Okay, I forgot to mention that we do shout outs. So go ahead and say hello and where you're joining from as we begin to get into our lesson about living with an empath. Susanna says, hello from Sicily, Italy. This is my first live event. It's so great to see you. I feel a connection with you, Susanna. And I love your profile picture. The blue, the vibrant blue behind you is gorgeous. And how do you know if there are still entities you're dealing with? Okay, so that's something that we actually go into in the paid academy. So we don't do open questions in here. But there are ways that you can do it. You can learn methods of spiritual discernment so that you can ask questions and then get the answers. For example, do I still have entities attached to me? Yes or no? And you'll be able to get the answer. And then you'll also be able to learn you'll be able to determine from a whole list that I give you what kind of entity. Anne also says, I'm from the U.S., Great Lakes. Maria says, hello from Virginia. Oh, I'm feeling my age so much. I'm going to grab my granny glasses just in case. I'm having trouble reading your comments today. My eyesight keeps getting worse. Christy, hello from Kennesaw, Georgia. Taryn, hi from Washington State. This is my first live too. Oh, I didn't realize that. So I want to go back to Anne and say, Anne, thank you for your question. It's a really important question. And I have a feeling at least 5 or more people watching this were thinking, yeah, I want to know that too. It is more complicated than a quickie answer, but there are definitely methods that you can use that are pretty straightforward, and you don't have to be a master psychic in order to get the answers. There are tools I can teach you. Marie says, Samantha, oh, sorry. Marie says, first live here too. Yeah, Marie, I think I just let you into the group. And some of you don't know, but I'm really good about keeping healthy work hours. As someone who has a bit of a workaholic streak, I'm very proud to say that I'm very good about taking 2 days off a week, and my 2 days off are Thursdays and Fridays. So that's why all of a sudden on Saturday, there's all these like new people joining the group, because when I was out of the office, they are all of the people that I'm letting in when I'm back in the office. Okay, so we're going to talk all about living with an empath. I'm going to give a definition of what an empath is. Marie, you're very welcome from the group approval for the group approval. And Taryn says that's good, healthy boundaries. Yeah, it's really important, whether you're an empath or anybody doing spiritual work, doing any kind of work, being a parent, having a regular, like a job or whatever it is that you do. So important to manage your energy. And part of how I do that is I compartmentalize my time. Like, this is work time, and when it's work time and a friend calls me, I'll talk to them for like a minute, and then I gotta go because this is work time. This is work time. This is not work time, and it helps me maintain my energy levels and not get drained, so I can keep doing work for you guys. So we're gonna define what an empath is, but before we even define that, I want to ask you all, even before I give the definition, do you feel that you are an empath? Go ahead and say yes, or give a thumbs up or a heart. So do you feel that you are an empath? Okay, so it always takes a second for the comments to come through. So when I ask for comments, comment really fast. Get it sent. Anne says, oh yes. Marie says yes. Taryn says absolutely. I'm an empath also. One of the inspirations for doing this class was I'm also very self-reflective, and I think about things a lot, and I've had different times in my life where I've lived with people and thinking about what worked, what didn't work, and the particular aspects of being an empath, and that it's interesting, if someone isn't an empath, that they don't understand what's happening. So that was my inspiration for doing this class. Susanna also says yes. Okay, so as always, I'm going to be looking at my notes because I'm a teacher. And also there's something different today. I've got kind of a command center set up here. This is definitely a more sharing type of class than usual. And I did a couple of posts in the last month asking people what they thought about empath issues. So I'm going to be reading from those comments as well, and you'll have the opportunity to share too. So we're going to be getting not just my teaching. A lot of this is going to be your comments and your opinions about being an empath. Susanna says, you have the best laugh. Oh, good. I'm glad. I have no idea. Nora says, so good to see you. It's good to see you too. I'm also a very emotional person, so when my heart fills up, it'll look like I'm about to cry. It's good to see you, Nora. Okay. Finally, I'm going to finally answer the question, what is an empath? After we chatted there for a while. What is an empath? So I'm going to give you a really loose definition because this class today is more about understanding living with an empath and less about defining every single type of empath. So loosely speaking, an empath is someone who picks up on the energy, emotion, feelings of others. So this is someone who can feel someone else's emotions, maybe, or they can feel someone else's intentions, or maybe if someone isn't feeling well, if they are a physical empath, they might feel the person's headache or the person's tension or whatever. So there's different kinds of empaths. Some are emotional empaths who can pick up on emotions. Some are physical empaths. And then there are various other empaths that we won't get into today, but we're just talking about the basic general definition of empath, and I'm going to just include physical and emotional empath into that. So are you a physical or emotional empath? Do you pick up on other people's emotions? Can you feel when they're sad? Can you feel when they're angry, but they're saying that they're not angry? Can you feel that? Can you feel that? Like you know what it is. You feel their feelings. Or are you a physical empath? If somebody has a stomach ache, you feel their stomach ache or whatever. So are you an emotional empath, a physical empath, or both? Go ahead and answer. Okay, physical, emotional, both. Taryn says emotional big time. Anne says emotions. If you're watching the replay, I want you to write this down. Write down if you're an emotional empath, physical empath. Today's class is about getting more personal clarity, more than getting like teaching content, right? This is really important. Self-reflection, understanding yourself is going to help you thrive in the world and manage your energy. Marie says emotional empath and possibly physical too. And there's a spectrum, so we might be like very much emotional empath and occasionally a physical empath. Maybe not all the time. Susanna, emotional empath. Christy, both. And she's got the crazy smiley face with doing that. Yeah, it does get crazy sometimes. Nora says physical empath here, but some emotional too. Yeah. Okay. So when you can understand, excuse me, I need a drink. Yeah, I'll try not to choke on my own spit while I'm teaching a class. So as an empath, if you're picking up on other people's emotions or physical feelings, then imagine if you're living with somebody day in and day out, it can be very challenging. And I don't even need to ask you to imagine, like, right? You've lived it. You're like, oh my God, I'm rolling my eyes like, yes, I totally know. And if somebody doesn't understand about what it is to be an empath, they can be pretty clueless. Even if they're a very nice person who's trying to be nice, they might not understand how harmful certain things are to you as an empath. So once again, this class is for those of you who are empaths, but also, which is probably going to be most people who watch this video, but also anyone who's not an empath, you're going to learn a lot from this, because I guarantee there are at least a few people in your life that you're going to encounter, that you're going to be spending time with, either living or going on a trip with them or in a relationship with them or working with them or whatever, that are empaths. And it's important that you understand the perspective, because I'm going to assume that you want to have the highest and best interaction with them. Okay, so what's next on our list? Okay, so there are two different questions that I asked the members in our free Facebook group a couple weeks ago, and we began our conversation then. So we're going to continue that conversation. There are two questions, and the first one we're going to address now. And you can go ahead and answer this question now. And I'm also going to read whatever comments were posted previously. So I'm going to be looking different directions here. This first question, as an empath, what are your unique challenges with living with other people? Now that could be living with a spouse, living with a partner, living with a family member, living with a roommate, like whatever. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. Definitely not. It can be anything, any kind of relationship. And this could be even you're traveling for a month with somebody and you're living together. It doesn't have to be long-term, short-term, long-term, whatever. As an empath, what are your unique challenges with living with other people? And go ahead and share your comments now, and I'll read them. I really felt like it was very important that we get a lot of sharing in here, because my challenges with living with other people might not be the same as what yours are, because we're all, even though we all have this commonality as empaths, it might be a little different for each person. So you're going to notice that as I read some of these comments from my computer, you might relate to some of them, but not all of them, right? So again, this is an opportunity for self-reflection. Also, if you're watching the replay on YouTube, you can go ahead, or anywhere else you're watching it, go ahead and answer this question. As an empath, what are your unique challenges with living with other people? And that's going to help you gain clarity about yourself, and also other people reading your comment are going to understand their own situation better. Taryn says, my parents are draining. I gotta put my glasses on. I cannot read. Okay. My parents are draining versus my kiddo who has excess energy, and I struggle to know the difference between my feelings and theirs. Yes, that can get tricky. Yeah, because when you're an empath and you're feeling a lot of stuff, it definitely takes practice. That's one of the things that an empath needs to learn over time, is how to identify, okay, what's mine? Like, I'm feeling stressed out, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling whatever, fill in the blank. But sometimes an empath will think that whatever they're feeling is theirs, but it's actually coming from the other person. Nora says, they blast me with their energy gremlins when they are upset. Fills my aura with energy trash. I can relate to that so much. And it really annoys me because I work really hard to have a clean energy field, and it really actually pisses me off if I'm living with someone and they've mucked up my energy completely. But when you're with them every day, day in and day out, and it's like you can't keep up with clearing all the stuff that they're avoiding clearing themselves. So it's like, oh my God, it just pisses me off. I totally relate. Christy, needing a very clean environment, and I lived with messy people. Yes, for some empaths, and that would include myself as well, a harmonious, tidy environment, like a very peaceful environment, can be very helpful. Not every empath is like this, but I totally understand. Marie says, having the energy sucked out of me, not adopting their emotions. When a lot of people are around, it is overwhelming, and I have to put myself in a timeout. Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah. Marie also says, I can feel people's energy when I am not around them, that I have a connection with. Yeah, that's important, you guys, to understand. It's not just living with people, but even if you have a connection with them and you're far apart, you can still pick up on things, especially if they're thinking about you, but really anytime. So also, I can feel people's energy when I am not around them, that I have a connection with anxiety, sadness, fear, depression, etc., and I don't even have to talk to them. Yeah, and Taryn says, same here. Yep. Okay, so, let's see what else we have here. Tamara says, I don't even have to live with some people who I'm deeply connected with to feel their stuff. I can tell when a former partner is in a depressed mood or high anxiety state. Yeah. So I want to share something here that I learned that I was an empath probably like 25 years ago. Yeah, probably 25 years ago was when I started to learn what an empath even was. I bought one of Dr. Judith Orloff's books. Let me read Maria's comment. I have other gifts too, so not sure if that adds to it. Yeah. So, way back in the day, I started to learn about what an empath was and why I was feeling what I was feeling. And so that was really helpful to have an understanding of what an empath was. And then over the years, I practiced discerning what's mine, what's not mine. And there's a question that you can ask when you have feelings that come up. You just simply ask, is this mine or is this not mine? And often you'll get a sense like, oh, it's not yours. It's not yours. It's somebody else's. You might get a sense of whose it is. And then what you do is, once you realize it's not yours, you practice just taking a breath and releasing it and just saying, oh, that's just information. And then you release it. I'm going to read Marie's comment, and then I have another. I want to complete what I was saying. Marie says, oh my God, same here. I knew something was going on with me. My ex hadn't talked, was going on with my ex. Hadn't talked to him in forever, couldn't shake it. So I had to reach out to him. He was going through something. Yeah, so we can definitely pick up on things from people all across the world. So for me, where I've been in my empath journey has been that when I'm interacting with people, I can very easily identify that's not mine, and I can just take it as information and let it go. But it's very hard. It's been very hard to live with certain people, and not everybody. I've done okay living with certain people, but the particular, I've learned that I can't live with someone who is not working on their stuff and who is being very self-avoidant about their stuff. So, for example, if they have a lot of anger that's coming up and all sorts of other kinds of feelings that they're experiencing, and they're pretending to be happy every day, and that's going to be basically disaster if I'm around that every single day, day in and day out. Because, if I was just interacting with that person for an hour, I would just release that energy afterwards, and that's fine. But day in and day out for months and months and months and months and months, eventually it wore my energy system down so much, and actually started to cause PTSD. Because every day when they're, and I want to know if you guys can relate to this. If you're interacting with someone where what they're saying is incongruent, it doesn't match with what their eyes are telling you and what their energy is telling you and what your empathic spidey sense is picking up. So when they're saying like, oh, I'm so happy, and sing-songy voice, and yet you can feel how sad, afraid, angry, depressed, or whatever they are, if you're around that every single day, have you noticed that it starts to cause anxiety for you, whether it's in a workplace? I know for me, I did okay for a couple of months, and then after a while, the anxiety built and built until it was turning into PTSD of every time I was around this person, the not authentic smile and the pretend positivity, and then but their energy, because they were self-avoidant and not working on themselves, and they were avoiding everything that was all their authentic feelings. Who was picking all of that up and having to deal with it? I was. And I'm very clear now. Like, I cannot live with someone who's avoiding all their stuff, because then who ends up having to avoid it? Who ends up having to feel it and deal with it? The empath, the other person. Yeah, and you guys were saying, yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I went through a situation like that, and it was, I'm going to assume everybody means well. I don't know what happened. It paused for a second, but we are back. Yeah, we're going to assume that everybody means well, but when you don't understand how you're affecting other people's energies, and being an empath is a unique thing. So those of you who are watching this who are not an empath and you don't understand how your behaviors affect an empath, here you go. So Marie, and you guys, I'm at that age where small writing is like impossible for me to read. Oh, and one of the things about my device, okay, here we go. Come on. Is that when I get behind on comments, it really messes things up. So, okay, Marie says, yes. Last 3 years, it broke me in many ways. I did tell the person when they were lying their true intentions. The impact on me over such a long period of time has been a real challenge for me. Let's see if I can get this to bounce back from. Yep. Yeah, and for me, it ends up feeling like gaslighting. It's like the person is saying one thing, but it's a lie, because what's really going on is something else altogether. And when you can clearly see that every day, like you can feel it, you know it, and it's like every day gaslighting, which will cause anxiety for some empaths. And I learned something about myself, like, living in a circumstance like that for enough months, my mental health suffers a lot, and that is just something that I needed to know about myself, and that might be true for other empaths. I'm sure that it is for some as well. Marie says their anger, outbursts, etc. Last time he was here without any outbursts or anything. After a week, it affected me. Didn't understand why. Yeah, because you were feeling the outburst, even though the outburst didn't physically happen, right? Taryn says, I have a coworker who says, I'm fine. Oh, God. But I can feel the gut-wrenching emotions she's going through due to life drama. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's tough. And it's tough also, like, if someone says that they're fine and they're actually feeling a lot of anger or resentment toward you. I'm not saying just you, Taryn, like anybody. If they're feeling a lot of anger or resentment toward you and they're saying that they're not, and you can feel it, and it's like, oh my God. And it's like, I see what's happening, but it's like constant gaslighting. Okay, so we had some really great comments in the Facebook group. I'm going to read some of those now. Okay, so again, the question was, as an empath, what are your unique challenges with living with people? And I'm not sure if I say this name right, but Iria, I'm so sorry. Taryn says, just be honest, LOL. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. A lot of empaths have a need that they need to have people in their life, whether it's someone that they're living with or other relationships. They need those people to be honest and transparent and authentic. And again, I'm not going to assume this is true for every single empath out there, but I think this is the majority. We need people who are honest and authentic and real, and not pretending to be something that they're not, or lying, or whatever it is along that spectrum. Because we can feel and we know what the truth is, and all that, the lying or the pretending or the whatever, it fucks up our radar so bad, which is why it can cause anxiety for somebody like me who's really, really tuned in a good way. Like, I'm really good at discerning what's mine, what's not mine, but I'm very tuned in. And so sometimes I'll know other people's intentions more than they know their own, because they're lying to themselves. And I understand people do that, but honesty, they've got to be honest. I agree with you, Taryn. Honesty, authenticity. Taryn says, I have to tell my child regularly to please just be honest, because I know. Yeah, I totally get it. Okay, so Iria, I don't even know. Vasquez. Okay. So sorry. I deeply apologize. People mispronounce my name all the time. So you can commiserate with me if you're watching this. Iria. She says, well, I need a safe person who can handle paranormal events, as in handle it without telling me it's crap or doesn't exist. I cannot live with just anybody as I have trauma from past situations. Yeah. Yeah. Marie says, true here is true. It's true here as well. I have said those exact words. Amazing to connect with others that understand this. Once trust is broken, it's hard to get it back, if ever. Yeah. I've known for several years that when it comes to romantic relationships, that because I'm an empath, I literally cannot be in a romantic relationship with somebody who lies. Even if it's like little white lies to protect my feelings or because they don't want to get in trouble for something. Like the white lies are very common in our culture. It's just considered like a norm, like, oh, everybody lies a little bit in their relationships. That fucks me up so bad. Like, it is just the worst thing ever. And I've known that about myself for quite a few years, because what I noticed was, back 25 years ago when I was in a relationship where the person would tell small and sometimes large lies, my spidey sense, my empath senses would be like, the alarms would be going off, and then they would deny it. And I was like, oh my God. So I constantly, even if it was just small lies, I just knew something was wrong. And so this hypervigilance and these alarms were going off all the time. And it just totally was messing with my radar. And so it was really interesting to also learn that even a relationship that's not really close, but just living in the same household, that even the denial or the lying or all that stuff not being upfront, how harmful that was. Because I knew that being in a romantic relationship, a very emotionally intimate relationship, that was what I needed. So it was very interesting to learn, like even just living with someone who's not close, living down the hall, separate hallways or whatever, it still was very impactful. So this was the comment that I wrote in the original Facebook thread. I said, I need whoever I'm living with to be honest and authentic. Dishonest or inauthentic behaviors on a daily basis in my living environment end up giving mixed signals to my intuitive senses, eventually causing me a lot of anxiety. And then eventually that will build into PTSD. Like, it'll get bad. And it doesn't happen immediately. Like, it can take several months for that to develop, but it's very difficult for an empath. McKenna says what she needs is carving out alone time to recharge. And Mickey said, I feel the same way. I can't stand dishonesty. Marie says, I totally understand. Once a lie is out there, it changes everything. I can literally see through them. BS meter goes off. Old boss was a snake. I saw right through him, and it created many challenges. Yeah. Melissa says, one of my challenges is overwhelm. We have a big family and a small house, and our children are neurodivergent, so it's a lot of energy. And Melissa, when I saw your post in the group, I really felt for you. Like, oh my gosh, self-care. Yeah, that you're a warrior for being in that environment. Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I've been very my situation is different in that I can now choose to live by myself, which is an ideal situation for some empaths. But of course, when you have a beautiful, loving family, like, you can't just be like, bye, I'm going to go live in a cabin. Marie also says, yeah, and at some point, at least I started questioning my intuition, learned to not ever question my intuition. Yeah, so when we're living with someone or we're in a scenario with someone who's like, when we feel what's happening and we speak it and we say, I feel this is what's going on, and then they deny it, then it does end up being like gaslighting. Like, what it does is it can cause us, like you just said, Marie, to question our own intuition, start to question ourselves, sometimes even question your sanity. Like what? I keep feeling this and this person keeps denying it. And that's what then adds to the anxiety as well. Taryn says, yes, I learned to second guess my intuition at a young age. Yeah, so here's the thing. Whether you're an empath or intuitive in other ways, if you're picking up things clearly and the people around you are saying, no, that's false, that's not happening, what results, especially for people who, like, if you're younger or you're not quite confident yet in your inner guidance, then it is pretty common that kind of thing would cause a person to then question their own intuition, to question themselves. Because if the other person or people are like, no, that's wrong. I had that happen numerous times in the past, where I saw what was really going on and I pointed it out. And because people wanted to hide a secret, they said, no, that's not right. You're not seeing things correctly. And it turned out a year or two later, I found out that they were lying, and I found out the truth. And that's happened to me a couple of times. And once all of that panned out, then I learned to trust myself more. So yeah, so that's a little side topic there. Learning to trust your intuition when there are people around you giving you mixed signals. Taryn says, if I could afford to live on my own, I would. Yeah, I found for myself, I was in a cheaper living circumstance, but it was having such a high cost. Like, it was literally costing me my mental health. So I had to realize, okay, this is going to be more expensive, but this is what I have to do. Not everybody is in that circumstance where they can make that choice. So I totally get it. So we're here to discuss and brainstorm. So as I share a little bit more from the Facebook group, this, where we've gotten to in our conversation, it's a good segue into asking you this question. So we're going to be bridging two questions at once. What have you done that has helped you manage? So let's say you are in a situation where, like, you can't just leave your loving family and go live out in a cabin. And you love your family. You want to still be with them. It's just hard because you're an empath. Or you're in a position where you can't afford to have your own place. You have to live with another person or other people. Or for whatever reason, you are in a situation where you have to live with other people, whatever. So what have you done that has helped you? What has helped you thrive more? Let's brainstorm. Let's share ideas. Because we're here not just to understand the challenges, but also get a few ideas for what's going to help. What's going to help you thrive. If you share your idea, that might help 10, 20, 100 other people who watch this later. Marie says, my ex had a car accident. I wasn't there when I asked him what happened. He lied. Then I told him what happened. He was like, how do you know that? I saw it. He was stunned and did admit I was correct. Yeah, I've had that kind of thing happen before too. Like, wow, you could really see that? Yeah. Okay, so start brainstorming. What have you done that has helped you? What has helped you survive and thrive? And I'll wait to share my own answers to this. Taryn says, I hide in my room when I need quiet. Ooh, I was just going to share, and then I thought I would wait for you guys, but that's mine too. That is what I do. It's not to be rude at all. It's like caring for myself, self-care. I will hide in my room, and that's what you do too, Taryn. I hide in my room when I need quiet. It's not totally healthy, but dissociating is one of my coping mechanisms. I need to start getting out of the house more. Yeah, getting out of the house is another good one, and that was one that I tried to do too. And I don't think that being in your room is necessarily unhealthy. It's about getting the quiet space that you need. But you know yourself better than anyone. You know if it's a healthy amount or an unhealthy, if it's unhealthy, so you can determine what's best for you. Christy says, grounding, learning to protect my energy and boundaries. Nora says, unfortunately, I have not managed it that well internally, but if I spend as much time away, that helps. Also, I go into extreme acceptance of the person's disposition, forgiveness. That's also important, you guys, really accepting, because like if a person isn't able to change, or they don't understand how to change, or they're not interested in changing, or whatever, it's going to be up to you to have radical acceptance, to accept this is how this person is, and then I need to do what I need to do to take care of myself. And that's, of course, I think attempting communication is the first thing. Like, you do need to try to communicate with them, and then if that's not working, then you go into radical acceptance and radical self-care. Marie says, I think your comment might be gone. I lost your comment. I'm sorry. That's just a problem with my device. You can feel free to retype it if you want to, Marie. Taryn, music therapy is a big coping skill too. And even in dealing with others in public situations afterwards, being in nature, Qigong, etc. Yeah, nature is great. And Qigong is a great way to move your energy. Tamara says spending time outside, somatic release exercises, communing with trees, orienting, feeling with my body, inner self. So I'm able to see the beginning of the comment, Marie. I haven't really figured that out. I have walked away, taking deep breaths and counting. Yeah, I can see the first part. Yeah. Once my comments scroll away, they're gone. I cannot see them. If I try to scroll back, it just goes crazy. So, and I don't think there's anything I can do about that. Sorry about that. So, let's see. I'm going to read a couple more comments from the Facebook group about the challenges. Courtney says that one of her challenges is absorbing their negative moods. Zahira says, being overwhelmed by other people's energy, especially negative. I can't stand sarcasm, which to me is lying. I need authenticity. There we go. Aisha says, I need to be able to be accepted, to be my authentic self. And I absolutely abhor laziness, messiness, dishonesty, and negativity. I also need to have order in my home. Yeah, I think it's awesome that Aisha is very clear about what she needs. And there's going to be some differences in empath personalities. So being really clear about what you need, then hopefully you can then have that clarity about yourself, so you can have clarity about what's working well or not working well with the other person. Marie says, have a positive response, redirect the person, have been using essential oils too. And Taryn says, I work at a mental health clinic. It can be really challenging working the front desk when we see people of literally all types coming in to be seen. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, okay. Oh. We're going to switch now to the other question. Earlier on, I said we had two main questions. I ended up throwing in another one about ideas on what has helped you. But now we're going to switch, and we're going to talk about not just the challenges, but who would be your dream roommate? Like, just making up an imaginary scenario. What kind of qualities would just be just awesome for you? Because I do believe that empaths can live with other people, but some people are not really, some personality types or behaviors are not really going to be a match. So describe your dream roommate, and this can be a romantic partner, it can be a family member, it can be a housemate, roommate, whatever, fill in the blank, but your dream person that you're living with. What kind of qualities would they need to have? And again, we're just doing this imaginary exercise because if you are living with someone, like maybe they aren't this way, but we're just brainstorming what would really be good for you. In the perfect world, if you weren't going to live alone, but you were going to live with another person or not, or a few people, what would that need to look like? Gail says, I own a bar and grill in a small town and I am the outsider. Yeah. So I'm looking at my notes here. I also wrote down, what kind of person would be gloriously perfect for you, keeping in mind your unique empath needs? Nora says, someone who loves me and finds my disposition interesting and enjoys learning about me. Taryn says, another empath, but one who is an intro extrovert. The kind of person who likes personal space and healthy boundaries, but also likes to go do things and interact. Yeah, that's a really good balance. Someone who understands personal space and healthy boundaries. So they're not like sneaking into your room. So Taryn, you said you like to go into your room and get quiet space. And so the other person isn't just walking into your room, right? Because as an empath, you need that bubble. You need that safe bubble. And Anne says her perfect dream roommate would be a furry four-legged friend. That's funny. I wasn't even thinking about that. I do have a roommate. I don't live by myself. I have a wonderful cat who's nice and quiet and only yells at me when she wants food. Christy, tidy and self-aware. Yeah. Gail says, a person who loves and respects nature. Marie, honest, trustworthy, authentic. I cannot tolerate fake people. They must be responsible. Integrity, good character is really important too. Communicate when there is an issue. Avoid passive-aggressive behavior. Oh God, that's me too. Respects my space. Does what they agreed to do. Does what they promised to do. No broken promises. They do what they say they are going to do. That's something that I learned about myself recently, is that that's very important to me too. And I was noticing scenarios where other people weren't following through on what they said they were going to do. And it as an empath, that was like these mixed signals, right? Something else I was gonna, passive aggressiveness. Oh my gosh, passive aggressive. So like not saying what you really mean, but just doing this weird passive aggressive, like saying and doing little subversive things instead of saying what you really mean. Oh my God, that's horrible for a lot of empaths. It's so bad. It's so bad. And it's unhealthy anyway, so don't be that way. Be direct. Taryn, yes, my late fiance was great at making sure I had personal space and time. Oh, that's awesome. And we loved doing things together. Yeah, I really think, a healthy empath if they live with someone who understands personal space and isn't trying to get into their space or hook in their energy into you, then you can really enjoy spending time together in certain increments, like not 24/7, but like really enjoy spending time together with someone that you know that they're not trying to like hook into your energy. Walid says, hey Maya, what can an empath do when they find themselves in repeated and stuck emotional cycles that do not change easily, especially if they are absorbed from others? So I'm glad you asked, but I don't think that there's a quick answer to that. If I were dealing with that issue, or if one of the students in my academy were dealing with that issue, we would be using some emotional clearing techniques, because I do think that's the root of the issue, is what's going on emotionally, is what's drawing in those issues over and over again. So that's what needs to be cleared. Gail says, a team player when it comes to big chores. Oh yeah, that's important too. Yeah, so that you're not the only one who's cleaning or whatever. Okay, what else? I wrote down some things about my dream roommate, who would be really ideal for me. Someone who is actively working on themselves, who's very self-aware, self-reflective, who, because they're self-aware and self-reflective, they understand when certain emotions, thoughts, feelings are coming up for them. And then they have the tools, they know how to acknowledge those things and to process their own energies and feelings. Because the opposite would be someone who's very in self-denial and just like avoiding working on themselves. And then the empath, me, is the one who ends up having to deal with all this stuff being splattered off of their energy field. So I need someone who is really honest with themselves, who's working on themselves, who's self-aware. What I discovered is that if someone has self-abandoned, they leave space for something else to take over. So if they've abandoned themselves and they're just like out here in la la land, then there are other energies. And I know this class is about empaths, but this is a little touching on psychic protection issues and negative spiritual interference. If a person has abandoned themselves, like they've left, their consciousness has somewhat left their being, then other stuff can come in and manipulate them. And that's not good either. So that's also an issue. Someone who's honest, grounded, someone who sources their energy properly. And I'm going to come back and talk about that in a second. Because I want to read Marie's comment before it goes away. Set standards and boundaries for themselves and force them as well when needed. Marie says, cut cords before you're in too deep. Yeah. So sourcing energy properly. A lot of people in today's day and age don't really know this, but when I say it, it'll make sense. It's kind of the opposite of what every love song out there talks about, how like, I was nothing until I met you and you complete me. This whole like codependent kind of energy, this whole codependent mentality about getting energy from other people. And I'm going to read Christy's comment. Thank you for the self-abandonment example. Yeah. So what's commonplace in our culture is this codependent practice of gaining energy, gaining groundedness, gaining a sense of fulfillment in one's life by connecting in, but not in a healthy way, but hooking in to other people's energies. And that's considered normal. Like, again, all the love songs for years and years and years have been all about codependent relationships. And so what I'm going to say here is that we need to source our energy properly. You as an empath and other people are also responsible for sourcing their energy properly. So there are a couple ways that you should be sourcing your energy, your life force energy. You should be drawing energy in from the earth, and you should be drawing energy in from divine source, God, goddess, creator, whatever your name is for that. You should be drawing energy in that way. You can also draw energy in from nature just by sitting outside, and it absorbs into your auric field. But you should not be absorbing energy or sourcing energy from other people. And if you are, that means that you are engaging in energy vampirism, and no one wants to think of themselves as an energy vampire. So this is a little bit of tough love. If this is how somebody is acquiring energy, then that's unhealthy. It needs to be sourced from earth, from divine source, and then you can also sit in nature and absorb energy through your energy field, through your chakras, but you should not be sourcing energy from other people. Empaths, being very sensitive, are going to, anyone is going to be negatively impacted by someone sourcing energy from them. It's going to drain the person's life force energy. It's going to make them sicker or bring down their vibration. It's going to reduce their vitality, etc., etc. And someone who's an empath is going to be very negatively impacted by that. Okay, I was talking and comments came through. Taryn says, codependency is taught hardcore in our society. I never understood it. Yeah. Marie says, that would be me. Susanna says, like entities source from our energy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry. Tension, neck tension. Had to take a little yoga stretch break. Let me think if there's anything else I want to say about that. Yeah. So if you're watching this, if you're an empath, you definitely need to be responsible for how you're sourcing your energy. But everybody else who's watching this, who's not an empath, please be aware of how you're managing your energy, because if you're hooking into others, that is damaging to them. And it's especially damaging to someone who's an empath, because they're very sensitive to that. But it's damaging to pretty much anybody. Okay. There are some people who are less impacted and some people who are more impacted by an energy vampire hooking into them. But just do not do it. Just say no. Okay, so let's see. We do have a few comments in the Facebook group. I'll read those about your ideal roommate, housemate, spouse, partner. First, I'll read Marie's comment. What I mean is I feel more motivated, energized around certain people. I don't know if that is what you mean. It's okay to feel energized around, like if you're with a group of people and you feel energized, that's not necessarily a sign that you are an energy vampire. But you should not be gaining your sense of meaning and grounding yourself and getting life force energy by connecting in and smushing into other people's energies. Okay. But there are environments that can be energizing for anybody. Like you go to a concert and there's all sorts of energy, and like or a sports game in an arena, you're going to feel that energized energy. That's just something that's happening as a side effect of the environment that you're in. I'm really glad that you brought that up to help clarify that. I hope that helps. Yeah. Okay. So a few other people made comments about the ideal roommate. Christy says, strong mind, balanced. They have a balanced masculine and feminine energy. They understand boundaries, and they live a healthy lifestyle. Taryn says, when I go to the Pride Parade, I feel that positive energy. Yeah, so that's a natural result of being like in a positive or exciting energy. Marie says, I do feel codependency was a part of my last relationship. Became more concerned about him than myself. Yes, and you bring up a good point. Actually, empaths can sometimes have issues with being codependent because they don't necessarily feel the difference between the distinction between the other person and themselves. So there's this like melding and enmeshment with the other person, which would be codependency. So I'm not going to go too much into that topic, but just for everybody to have a self-awareness about that. And it does take time. It takes work once you realize that pattern, to unwind those behaviors, and whether it's working through therapy, journaling, or other methods, looking at your family upbringing and where it was, how you learned to take on those patterns. I say this from experience because I was literally raised in an environment with both my family and my religious upbringing it was very pro codependent. Like, you're supposed to be a martyr. You're supposed to like give of yourself to the other person and lose yourself. Like, they didn't necessarily word it that way, but like I was literally taught to be that way. And so then I'm almost 50 now, but in my 20s I had to like unlearn all of that, and my first relationships were definitely very codependent. So I totally understand, and I understand how it takes time to unwind those patterns. And then even when you think that you're done with being codependent, then somebody sneaks under your radar and you go, oh gosh, how did that happen again? Because that happened to me 10 years ago in a relationship that like when you self-abandon, when you abandon yourself in order to care for the other person. Caring is great, but self-abandonment, not. And 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that, I was like, oh my God, how did that happen? I ended up with some self-abandonment. Had to work through that, and it takes time. Sometimes those old patterns show up again when we think we're done with them. So what I'm saying is, be gentle with yourself, work on it. If some of you watching are realizing you have codependent patterns, all you can do is just work on it. And if it pops up again, you go, okay, well, let's learn from this, and then keep going forward, because it takes a while. It takes a while to undo those codependent patterns, for sure. Rose, her ideal person is her husband. He listens to me. He shares the work, spoils our cats. Okay, he spoils me. We have the most amazing discussions too. And Marie says, very true. Thank you for sharing. Mickey says, I wish my husband was better at holding his tongue and temper and being more mindful of my feelings. Also, I hate being told I'm, quote, too sensitive when he hurts my feelings. I have the right to feel how I feel if he thinks I'm being too sensitive. Yeah, so I'm glad that you shared that, Mickey. That's really hard when you're in a partnership and you are sensitive, and it should be looked at as a gift. And our last comment on here was from Stephanie Hardy, and she says, my husband is ideal. He is gentle and he notices my mood and energy sometimes even before I do. He gives me quiet time when I need some space and attention, and he gives me attention when I want to be playful. Just enough of a people person for entertainment out, but still needs quiet recharge time at home too. It's literally the best relationship I have ever had in my whole life. That's so awesome. It makes me happy reading that. Okay, so we're through all of our comments from you guys and from the Facebook group. If you're watching the replay somewhere and you want to add to the discussion, you can make a comment right there in the YouTube comments or wherever you're watching, or you can go ahead and join our free Facebook group, which again is called Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group, and you can join in on the comments that are already there. Do we have any final comments from you all before we close out for today? And I'm sure we'll have a few comments, thoughts, ideas, whatever else that you want to get off your chest before we end. And while I'm waiting for your comments to come through, I will give a couple of closing announcements. The first is a reminder that from now on, our free Facebook Live class is on Saturdays. Most of the time it's on the second Saturday, but of course I'm going to make it confusing. So this Facebook Live is being done June 2022. In July, instead of it being on the second Saturday, because I'm going to be busy with something on that day that I can't change. So we're probably going to shift it to the third Saturday, but just watch for announcements. I will post it. But you can put a repeating event in your calendar. Second Saturday, Facebook Live, free Facebook Live class with Maya. It's at 1 p.m. Pacific, and just adjust that to your time zone, except for July. In July, let me give you the date. I'm pretty sure it will be the third Saturday, which is July 16th. So you can just make a repeating event, but switch it for July 16th. But then after that, I'm a very predictable scheduler, so I like things to be really predictable for you guys, so that you'll know what to expect. So you can add that to your calendar so you can join us. Taryn, thank you for being here. I have just subscribed to your YouTube channel. Awesome. Christy, thank you. I always learn something new. And hey, you guys, I want to say something about my YouTube channel. So there are a ton of videos on there. Taryn says, routine is good. There are a ton of videos on there. Most of them are replays of Facebook Lives so that the public can have access to this free content. That's really important, that the public has some free stuff that they can get access to. Rose says, hi from San Antonio. I don't know why I always miss the time. Marie says, thank you for the class, sharing your wisdom, Maya. You have a very kind soul and are a very genuine person. I always appreciate it when people see that I'm authentic and genuine, because I am. And there are way too many, I want to figure out a way to put this. There are way too many spiritual teachers out there that are putting on a persona, and that's not actually who they are. I'm not the energy police. Whatever they're doing, okay, whatever. I don't like it. And I don't think it's good. And so when people can see that I am an authentic person just really wanting to share, that makes me really happy. It makes me want to cry. So thank you for acknowledging that. That is what I want people to see. And I think it's very important that whatever people you're connecting with for spiritual guidance, that they be authentic. Yeah, Marie says, genuineness is rare these days. It is. There are a lot of frauds for sure. Yes. Okay, so the YouTube channel. So we've recently reached over 1,000 subscribers. And so compared to other channels, it's a very small channel. I am not a competitive person, so I really honestly do not care that I don't have as many subscribers as whoever else. Like, I don't care. What I want is whoever needs this content, that they find it. That's what I want. I don't care about popularity. I couldn't give a crap about popularity. But I am super excited that we recently, I think like a month ago, 2 months ago, we reached over 1,000 subscribers. Yay. What I have noticed is that according to the Facebook statistics, is that the number of watch hours is not as high as it could be. And so I just wanted to say, if you have enjoyed this video, go ahead and binge watch. Like, there's so much great free content. I would love to get my watch hours up so that we could improve the channel. Because what happens is that even though I don't care about popularity contest, the reality is the algorithm for YouTube works in such a way that when there are more people watching, then YouTube actually presents these videos as suggested videos for other people. But when there's a small viewership, then it doesn't show up. Like, just people just don't find it unless they search and then they find me. But it just doesn't show up in the recommended videos as much. It's happening more, but let's help that happen more. And so I want to suggest that you allow yourself to enjoy all the free content on the YouTube channel, and then go ahead and like and comment and do all that stuff that helps the algorithm, and then that helps other people who are needing this, whether they're empaths struggling or they're dealing with a psychic protection issue. It helps those people find the channel because of the algorithm. So you're helping yourself by accessing free content, and you're also helping other people. Again, I don't give a flip whatever the numbers are. It does not matter to me, but I really want the people who need the free content to be able to find it. So let's help them. Okay, so Taryn says, Psychic Protection Sanctuary with Maya Zahira. Yes, that is the YouTube channel name. Thank you for confirming that. And as we wrap up for today, if you'd like to work with me more deeply, we go way deeper, and there's just a ton more support in the paid academy, Spiritual Empowerment Academy. And that's something that you can find on my website, psychicprotectionsanctuary.com, psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. Under the events tab, you'll find it. There's a really great informative page where you can read all about what the program is, and there are some really awesome testimonials on there, and these are real testimonials, real students. You can definitely tell from the testimonials that these people are having a wonderful experience and how supportive the group is. So I highly recommend, if you feel drawn, if your inner guidance is drawing you, listen to your inner guidance. If your inner guidance is like, nope, I don't like this lady, or I don't need this, then don't worry about it. Okay. But go over to YouTube and binge watch. Okay. Marie says, and you don't look 50, you look great. Yeah, I'm almost 50. I can't wait to turn 50. Like, I feel like I've been 50 for a long time, but that's for other reasons. I just feel kind of old. Okay, we're all done. This was so fun, you guys. And also just a reminder that I'm going to upload this video onto YouTube. And when I do so, I'm going to set it up as a premiere. So, for example, if you joined late and you've just now joined, but you want to go ahead and participate in sort of a live commenting kind of experience, then go over and subscribe and click the bell so you get the notification on YouTube that this video is going to be premiering. So the replay of this will be premiering live, so to speak, in that everybody's going to be watching the same video at the same time, and you can comment live, and I will be on there commenting as well, so you can ask questions, comments, etc. If you want to do that. And that also goes for the future Facebook Lives. Excuse me. If you miss a class, let's say next month, then you can still have a live element of it by joining the YouTube premiere. So I thought that would be kind of fun. We're going to try that out. Okay, thanks everybody. Anne says, will our comments be available to be seen publicly? That's a great question, Anne. I'm so glad you asked for that clarification. This group, this Facebook group, is it is a private group. No one can see anything that's posted in our Facebook group unless they are a member. These Facebook Live videos, however, do get uploaded onto the YouTube channel. But earlier when I read some of your comments, all that I said was your first name And so it should be all good. But just so you know, the videos are uploaded to YouTube. This video and all of the live comments can only be seen by those who are in this Facebook group. I hope that clarifies. That's a really important question because privacy is important to a lot of people, and especially with sensitive topics like this. Taryn, have a great rest of your weekend. I certainly will. I always aim for an hour to an hour and a half for our classes, and we're right at an hour and a half. So thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. And those of you watching the replay, feel free to comment on YouTube or whatever. I look forward to connecting with all of you in the future. Thanks so much, and I'm sending you all my love.